It really seemed like, as a country, we had moved past Kris Kobach. We dodged a bullet last year, and that we were finally going to not have to worry about him anymore. But it looks like that's not the case. He's back on the radar once again. And joining us now to break down the potential damage that Kris Kobach could continue to do to the US, Greg Palast, author of several New York Times bestsellers, including The Best Democracy Money Can Buy. Greg, welcome to the show.
Glad to be with you, John.
Glad to have you here, and I know that recently you have turned your attention to Kris Kobach and you've been investigating him, and so who better to talk to about the role he might play in government? He's popped back up on our radar because there is the possibility that he could be involved in instituting Donald Trump's immigration policies in the future, which isn't necessarily what he's been known for nationally over the past few years. What do you think about him reemerging on the national scene?
Oh boy, right now Trump would like him to be immigration czar or czarina. I don't want to be too gender biased, but the Kris Kobach got his start. I know he's known as the vote thief in chief. If not for his vote thieving schemes, Donald Trump wouldn't be president. He owes him a lot. But he started out as with a white supremacist group called FAIR, and he was the lawyer for this group. And in fact, I think he still remains a counsel for FAIR, which says its purpose is to maintain a European majority America. I know some of you thought America should be an American majority America, but not Kris Kobach. He's also the author of SB 1070. Well, even while he was in Kansas state official, Secretary of State, he wrote SB 1070, what the ACLU called the driving while brown law, was basically thrown out by the US Supreme Court. He's also the guy who came up with the racist, what I discovered when working for Rolling Stone is that he's the guy who created the program called Interstate Crosscheck, which is basically they're checking for people with common names like Black, Ho, Chung, Martinez, Rodriguez, you get it, to remove them from the voter rolls by saying that they voted in 2 states, 538 guys named, and I can't make this up, named James Brown, removed from the voter rolls of Georgia. This actually elected Brian Kemp over Stacey Abrams, using this cross-check system of finding so-called double registered voters, basically people with common ethnic names. 1.1 million voters were removed, mostly voters of color. We broke that story in Rolling Stone, but unfortunately, the people lost their votes, and we have both Donald Trump and in Georgia, Brian Kemp. He's also the guy, by the way, who came up. He told me I had to jump him. I had to literally go into disguise to get an interview with this guy, pretending I was a local station guy. It was like a ridiculous disguise, but I got to him. But later he called me back, trying to talk me out of the story in Rolling Stone, saying he was very proud of the fact that he's the one who came up with the idea of the wall and telling Donald Trump to say that Mexico will pay for the wall. He's also the guy, and then I'll stop here because I've been watching this guy now and hunting him down for 6 years. He's the guy who came up with the law in Kansas, and it's also been passed in Alabama, but found unconstitutional, that requires you to prove you're a citizen to vote. Now, hey, John, you might think, well, yeah, you ought to be a citizen to vote, but you know what? We're not Red China, and so we don't carry citizenship cards, and we don't have chips in our head yet. So the result of this, you have to prove you're a citizen in order to register to vote, resulted in 36,000 students, mostly students, and a few Air Force officers, by the way, who were prohibited from voting in Kansas in 2016. 36,000 people. This is going to be rolled out nationwide until a federal judge slammed Kobach when he admitted that not one of the 36,000 people he stopped from voting were non-citizens. They were all Americans, like I say, including several US Air Force officers who were plaintiffs in a case. In fact, his legal skills that Donald Trump relies on were so questionable that the judge found him in contempt and ordered him to do 6 hours, go back to law school for 6 hours to learn some basic procedures about the law.
That might not be a bad idea for a lot of our elected officials, actually, but certainly embarrassing for him. Thank you very much for watching this clip from the Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.